Today I'm showing you the best fire starter that you can make at home, in my opinion. And all you're going to need is aluminum foil, petroleum jelly, and a cotton ball. Let's get to it. Okay, so rip yourself off a slab of aluminum foil around 5 or 6 inches wide, like in about a square. So just take those cotton balls and dip them in the petroleum jelly. Try to get quite a bit on there. You want them pretty soaked in it. And now do it to the rest. Petroleum jelly is very flammable, and it's good at keeping, if it gets wet, it's good at keeping the water from soaking in, so it lights easily after it's wet. Okay, now you have a nice square of aluminum foil with your cotton balls inside. Now that your cotton balls are inside there, you can dump water on it. I have some water here, and it doesn't get wet because that aluminum foil protects it. And take just a little bit of that cotton out. Just get it showing like that. It's still dry besides that petroleum oil because that aluminum foil protected it. Dumped water all over it. All you have to do, blow that out, and you have it for next time. How to start a fire in 30 seconds with 3 feet of snow and only a flint and steel. Find a birch tree with a lot of shaggy bark. Go ahead and grab some pine branches. Next, try to find some bigger wood. I got this small cherry here, but it'll be a nice base for that dry pine. Now I'm going to cut a chunk of this off. Let's take it with us. Take your big chunks of wood, make a nice base. Let's get to breaking small sticks. Grab one piece, twist it up. You see how it's small and crushed now? Shower that in sparks. Now grab a handful of your sticks, put it right around it, not so it smothers it. To collect all the supplies and everything, this maybe took me 5 minutes. Light it up, have a nice warm fire going with just a flint and steel. I'm showing you guys one of the fastest ways to dry off a lighter if it falls in the water. Let's do it. Okay, you can see there's some ice right here. We're gonna break it out. Okay, now that the ice is broken up, if your lighter falls in the water, I would drop it in, but it sinks, so. You can see it's soaking wet, so I'll show you the fastest way to dry this off now. This is the same lighter. You can see it's glistening with water. I'll show you how to dry it off quick. So first, shake it out. Now you can there's a little metal striker right there. Take your dry shirt, if you have a dry piece of cloth or shirt, and just rub it around. Keep twisting that metal piece and just drying off that metal striker. There you go. How to start a fire with 2 Vaseline cotton balls and a thing of pine sap. Let's do it. So everything is soaking wet today. You're going to be getting that pine sap right off there from the injury up above. So what I'm going to do is take this saw and saw that pine sap right off. Now let's go back and start the fire. So we have a nice spot under a very big white pine. That's why there's no snow here. We have a bunch of twigs now. Now all these are soaking wet. You can see they're wet. Once you got your pine sap, put your cotton balls under it. Take another chunk, put it right on top. Now take your flint and steel. Now let it burn the pine sap so it starts to melt. Okay, now that that pine sap's melting, put these wet sticks around the fire. Okay, this is 4 minutes after I started the fire, and you can still see that pine sap under there burning and bubbling. If I zoom way in on it, you can see it's still bubbling. So next time you go out in the woods, try this out. It's a great way to start a fire, and it's super easy to do. Is it true? Does moss actually grow on the north side of the tree? And if so, is it a reliable compass? Let's talk about that. You can see here there's moss growing up the side of this tree. And you can see around the edge that there's not moss growing anywhere except on this side. So it'll grow in places that rains a lot or water kind of pools up. It'll grow on the edges of those places. So right now the moss is flourishing on the bottom of these trees. So it's usually going to want to grow in protected, shady, and moist places. It's not usually very reliable to rely on moss as a compass. You can see this is growing on one particular side of the tree. It doesn't really grow on any other side of the tree besides this one side. It depends on what hemisphere you live in. See, I live in the northern hemisphere, So the moss is going to be growing more on the north side of the tree. Not always. It really depends, like I said, where the wind is, where the rain is blowing, everything like that. But for us, we live in the northern hemisphere. Most of the time, it probably will grow on the north side because it's protected. Southern hemisphere, it'll probably grow more on the south side. So you can kind of see that the moss is pointing almost exactly north. So yes, some trees do have a north-facing moss. I'd say it's hard to rely on that because there are some that don't. So the moral to this is just carry a compass. It's not fully reliable. Today we're going to be talking about how to start a fire in 5 minutes with just birch bark. So first, you want to grab the birch bark that is kind of a light and almost, I want to say fluffy. It's not going to be hard. So like this birch bark you can see is pretty stiff. It breaks instead of this stuff just kind of crumbling. You want the crumbly stuff. Okay, so right here we have a dead jack pine. The branches have been drying for quite a while, so it'll be a great source of wood that'll burn hot and fast. Now that you have all your sticks here and you have your birch bark, take these sticks, take the little branches, and break them up even smaller. Now what we're going to be doing is making a base layer for the fire with these sticks over here. Now take your ferro rod, firmly push down with this piece, and pull away with the flint. Once it's lit, grab your twigs and place them on the side. And now you can see in just 5 minutes, I started a fire with just a little bit of birch bark and a ferro rod. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys how to filter all the debris out of your water with just a shirt, which is just to collect, like you can use kind of any kind of cloth, but it's just to collect the debris. A metal cup to collect the water as it filters. Some birch bark, which I'll show you how to get in a second here. And another metal cup if you want it to help scoop the water out of wherever you're getting it from. Okay, so now I'm at this little body of water. And what you're going to want to do is take your birch bark, put your shirt kind of at the top. Now this is kind of a small piece for this big of a shirt. But if you wrap your birch bark around, just like this, so you can see there's a little hole at the bottom. Otherwise, it's all wrapped around the top. Now make sure to pour it in the back if it's like this. Otherwise, it'll all drain out the front. Get some water. You can see there's grass and stuff in there. Now, once you have some, you can kind of see that water. It's still a murky color because this is a pond, but it got most of the big stuff out. Today we're finding out, is white pine needle tea better or is spruce pine needle tea better? Let's find out. Okay, so I have both kinds of pine needles here. Now I'm going to put the white pine needles in this cup and the spruce pine needles in this cup. Now we're going to take our second cup and fill it with the spruce needles I have right here. You can see it's turned an auburn color, and those pine needles have kind of turned a pale color. That's what you want. I filled this cup up with water, and on it goes. It has a much different color, I'm going to say yellow now. So I'm going to set this one off to the side. We got our spruce tea. That is actually really good. It has a little bit of a piney flavor, obviously, because it's pine needles. It reminds me of a green tea. It's not too overpowering, though. Next, we have our white pine tea. Let's give this one a try. This one's a little bit less flavorful. Yeah, not quite as strong. Doesn't quite remind me of a green tea. It reminds me of just like a pine-flavored water. Alright guys, today I'm testing and showing you the difference between fatwood and rotten wood. Okay, so first of all, what is fatwood? Fatwood is made up of two things. It's obviously wood and pine resin. Okay, so I chopped the branch off right there. And now I got a chunk of fatwood. You can kind of see the sap in that. And then I'll show you the difference. Because this is a chunk of rotten wood. And then this is very strong. And this is from the same exact tree. This is because the resin from the tree branch ran down the tree to the base, and it all collected there. Fatwood is a very good wood on keeping something burning. So if this is to start a fire, keep a fire going, or whatever it is, very useful. This is the fatwood. So you can see that keeps burning. I'm putting this out right away. It's not going into the ground. It's not going into the pine needles. It is very wet today. It's raining right now, so it's putting the flame out, kind of. Okay, so right there, I can't show you lighting the rotten wood because YouTube takes down my videos for child safety, so I'll just show you that it's very charred, and I tried lighting this for a very long time, just to let you know that. You can see even that it's charred, it just won't catch flame. This is the rotten wood. Now you can see the fat wood lights a lot easier. Again, don't try this at home. Today we're going to be talking about how to make your lighter more useful in 5 minutes. First thing you want to do when you get a lighter, you see this top right here, band that wraps around the flint. You want to take some kind of a pliers and you want to get that right off. So if you can get underneath it, you can just pull it up. You can see it's off now, and that's the little band that goes around it. Now that just makes it easier to turn and strike the flint. So if your hands are cold or it's just hard for you to strike it, then just take that off and it'll make it a lot easier. So this is just a bit of string. Now the next thing is going to be like a yarn. This is going to be helpful for starting the fires. So if you light it, it'll burn slowly down the rope. Next, we have duct tape to hold more things inside the lighter. So you can see I have a safety pin here. And then if you go farther in, I have fishing line. The duct tape holds all this in, and it also is used for a fire starter. You can light the duct tape, and that'll just keep burning for a very long time. So gather these supplies, put them on your lighter, and it'll make it a way more useful lighter when you're out in the woods.